Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world. I'm Dan Marty.
Marty Jannetty.
It's a new month. It's a new era for the new Marty Jannetty. Our brand new Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty is now.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orton.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders. We had fun catching up, I guess, in a supersized episode last week. Jackie was very upset with me. He said every 15 minutes we're going to cut this week. So, Jackie, I apologize.
Oh, that's a new format?
What's that now?
New format?
That's what they asked me to try and do here at the studio, so we're going to do our best. And Jackie is the man to lay the law down.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if he entertained you with some of his jokes earlier. But
I think they're funny.
yeah, all right, well. Anyway,
how
many pairs of glasses do you own, Marty?
I don't know. And none of them work.
All right, well.
Where's my phone?
Oh, here we go with that again. All right, wrestling fans. The last time Marty was with us, we cracked 1989. We finally made it through that great year. We just kicked off 1990. And we talked a little bit about Tugboat. We talked a little bit about the landscape of the company in early 1990. We kind of got distracted, though, with what I found very interesting was one of the top heels in the company went babyface, the Big Boss Man. After less than 2 years on top as a heel, they decided to take a much slimmer, in better shape Boss Man and make him a babyface. Do you think that was the right call, especially where you had Ultimate Warrior getting the belt that spring and not having many heels to work with?
Yeah, I don't know. Boss Man, the losing the weight, no, I think he did on his own because he was heavy at one point.
Yeah, really heavy.
And, and he started looking the better the part. You know, a lot of times the fans determine what you're going to be, baby or heel. And in that time frame, it was just starting to go, well, it was getting closer to a few years after that where they started just loving bad guys. You know, you're out there trying to make them hate you and they're cheering you. And then sometimes, no matter, how much you wanted them to like you, they couldn't stand you,
Yeah.
I think of a few examples there, too. But, yeah, I think it was, I'm not sure if his was so much, I think it was a combination, getting a little thinner and then the fans, their reaction. But it was probably smart, like you said, because that was needed. It helped out a lot, especially with Warrior.
Well, no, it didn't help Warrior because it was one less opponent for Warrior to work with.
Yeah.
But we're going to get there once we get to WrestleMania 6. But do you think overall, during his run, Boss Man was more effective as a heel or a babyface? He had that great run with Hogan, one of Hogan's all-time greatest drawing heel opponents, when he was on top as a bad guy, but he had a long tenure as a face.
I think Hogan liked working with him because I don't know if I can. I'm trying to think, did I ever work against Boss Man? I know I tagged with him once, but for some reason it was just like, I feel like there was one, I don't know, maybe I was working with him and just the tag was stiff, but it was.
Well, you worked with him at WrestleMania 5.
Oh yeah, that's right, that's what it was. And he was, as a big man, he was a bit stiff. But I think they were nervous. But I don't, again, I don't want to say what I don't know.
Well, from your observations, do you think, if you were the booker, would you have used him as a face or a heel?
Again, it would have been going. I would have been seeing what the crowd, which way they were leaning. Because they're the ones, after all, they're gonna. You can't let them call all the spots, but they're still gonna be the ones that, as some people call them, the ticket buyers.
Well, yeah, there you go. Right around the same time, you were involved in new angle, fresh angle with the. Are those real glasses or are they for decor?
They're reading glasses.
Oh, they're reading glasses.
They're just trying to match the pants.
Oh, all right. Well, you're going to kill your eyes, I think, if you do that.
Yeah, looking at the cameras, there's 6 of them. And I know we only have 3 in here.
You were in a fresh program with the Powers of Pain. You did interesting, in an angle that only aired in select markets. You were on the Brother Love show, and you guys did a stretcher job for the Powers of Pain to set up 6-man tags. I think it was you and the Rockers and Jim Duggan against the Powers of Pain and Mr. Fuji. Why was that something that was only,
Man,
do you know why that was only, didn't go national, was only in select markets? That was kind of odd.
The 6-man, you mean?
No, the angle, the stretcher job on the Brother Love show.
I mean, because I don't even remember, so it must have been uneventful. But I'm trying to think, would they beat us and had us taken out? You know, that's a lot of wrestling. When you've had so many matches that you don't remember something like that. Because I remember they one of us once, but that was Madison Square Garden. I think they beat up on Sean, and Fuji got involved with the cane and all that. And but us both getting wheeled out, huh? Damn. Should have done something, but I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one.
Well, your memories of the program as a whole with the Powers of Pain.
I loved working with them. Everybody was like, as far as the boys, this ain't gonna work. You got the two biggest, strongest, badass-looking heels tag team against the cream puff, little long-haired, cutesy, rockery, 220 and 230-pound guys. This ain't gonna work. Man, we had the best matches. I think we worked with them like 3 months, and it was great every night. I know it was like we had one break, maybe 2 breaks, keeping us going from 90 straight days in that particular run, because they kept us on the road back then, and if you're going to work with a couple of big strongs, both of them 300 pounds at the time, muscled up for 90 days, pretty much 90 straight days, and come out the end of the 90th day still feeling pretty good, not hurting. Man, it must have went pretty good, because if it was a horrible, like everybody thought it might be, they would have cut it off short. But and it wasn't even really supposed to go long, a month or so. But it was so good that we kept running and going with it. But man, I loved working with them. That stretcher thing you're talking about must have been when what we did to go, or was that just for that 6-man tag?
Well, the 6-man tag, it was never even on TV. They would just, in some markets, you guys would work regular tags with Powers of Pain, and other times it would be you guys and Duggan against Powers of Pain with Fuji. You kind of varied a little bit.
I guess he just.
Do you remember having any 6-mans?
Oh yeah,
with Duggan.
With Duggan, I remember us, but I just didn't, know which. I think we tagged with him more than once.
Yeah. You guys, for that early period in 1990, it was almost the flip of a coin, depending upon where you were.
Yeah, because we all rode together at one point, Sean and Duggan, and that was, we were going around the loop with the 6-man. I just can't remember who was. You remember, man, we got done 4,000 at least. Tried to count it out after a 35-year career. 3,500 matches is a lot. I mean, in the first half of it, this is not trying to be ugly or anything, but you tend to forget the extras, the enhancer guys that come in, because there's so many of them, and you only see them once. So you tend to forget after a while. After a year or so, you don't. But I was so good about seeing the guys again, saying, "Hey, thank you, that was a great match back then." And they would even be surprised, like, you remember. And I thought, why wouldn't I? Then a few more years went by, and a few more, and then I am starting to forget them. I was like, oh no, the memory. And so that was back, mid-90s. now I'm forgetting a lot of stuff, because the 6-man tags is what we're talking about right now. I do remember us doing them, with Duggan, because we had some crazy times, with our road trips. I just can't remember hardly any of the matches ourselves, though, and this was where are we at now? 90 or 89?
Early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah, man.
But Powers of Pain, they weren't bad to work with. They were smooth.
No, I loved working with them. I would have suggested we kept going. It was that, now bump-wise, you're going to have to bump. But that's what you're in the game for. Myself, the garden match I was just talking about, I had to go. There's there's impact moves and there's high impact moves. And I was counting them, how many I took that night, because I did that for pretty much for 90 days. I think it was high impact, which means like Warlord throws me in the ropes and gives me that front push, you know, from the hips. And him pushing me around here and me pushing off his shoulders, man, I'm a good 10, 12 feet in the air and come down pancake, you know, flat. That's for the front side, and then a back drop off of him. If you push, you're getting way up there. Another one to the back side, and then Barbarian could catch me no matter how hard and high you jump. He's so strong. And there's 225 pounds at the time, and he catches me, wham, power slam. You know, he was strong enough too on the outside. And when he'd run me into the post, like give me the post, like he's got me long ways. You know, when you run a guy into the post, the post don't give. The bodies are what it give. And he would, to keep it from being his weight and my weight, you know, going against the post, he would throw you so just your weight hits it. And man, he could throw me like a good 2 feet. I mean, I was feeling push, and almost like I'm waiting to hit the post. You know, he could throw you 230 pounds shove like that in the air, like he's got your whole body sideways. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, there was all those crazy bumps like that for like 90 days in a row. Some of the bumps I took one night, you know, because sometimes you get so into it, you get lost. You just do it. You're here in the crowd, you're feeling it, and you get lost in that moment. You just keep going and keep going. And Sean was on the side of that. That's enough, guys. That's enough. And, you know, once I got to see the tape of it, I was like, gosh, damn, man. To think 90 days of that. But I was going to say, on that particular one, you know, where it had to be about 12, 14 bumps in one quick little sequence. And so I said, Sean, you want to do that the next night? He goes, you know, you take over. He goes, hell no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'll do some of it, but not all of that. But I think, and a lot of the boys agreed, we had some of the best matches. On paper, just looking at it, you were, this is never going to work. But then after you saw it, you're like, God, that's a good one. Keep going with that. Loved working with them. And both of them is being, well, you know both. Have you met Barb?
Very little.
Well,
Warlord was here in studio with us back in December as part of the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. I think the world of him. He was fantastic, good soul,
yes,
good, honest man. You know, we love dealing with them when you can get our hands on someone like that. I'd love to have the Warlord back now. The fans really like the interviews with him. It's another reason for you folks to head on over to patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Join the Boston Wrestling family. Get early ad-free access to all of our great Wrestling Insider shoot interviews and programs like this one. Help keep the wrestling legends working. Access to our DVD library that's been seen by millions online and millions on the Howard Stern Show. Again, Marty, I would love to do this every weekend if the fan support was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we wouldn't have to tape so many episodes. You guys have no idea. Forget about Dr. Phil doing episodes 5 days a week. If you guys knew how many episodes we had to tape in a day and over the course of a weekend, because it's the only way we can afford to do it financially. You know what I mean? But again,
this is showing what
this is July 1st.
This is July 1st.
It's a new month, baby.
Not in Jacksonville yet? No, not yet.
No.
But they, the next time I'm here, so you'll have to see this fat belly, because we get 15 weeks. We'll probably get 15 weeks this weekend. So what's that? 3, 4 months? It'll be 4 months for you to actually see me looking different than what I do right now, except for a change of clothes. Did you wear that last week?
Yeah.
Week 4?
Week 4, yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, we enjoy doing them, of course.
It is a lot of fun. But, you know, sometimes it can be a long day, and they can be tiring days. So that's why the more fans that help with Patreon, the more fans that head on over to that eBay store and check out all that great merchandise we have with superstars of every era. The Super Chat button during the premieres, that helps a lot. You know, it's like when you go to a bar, tip the bartender $1 or $2. You know, it doesn't have to be large denominations. If everybody did a little, it would help a lot. And again, even the simple things that cost nothing. Give us a big thumbs up. subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you do that, it lets YouTube know that you're enjoying what we do, and they showcase what we do in our videos to fans that aren't familiar with us yet. And like I've said, Marty, I continue to believe there are millions of lapsed fans from the 80s. There are millions of lapsed fans from the 90s that gave up on it after the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, that they may not watch WWE and wrestling today, but they'd love talk shows like this talking about the quote-unquote good old days.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, there's a generation out there for everybody. I mean, I like the new stuff. I still love it, what today, but I see how the people who, loved our stuff kind of drifted out of
right. And why?
The ones, a lot of them too see the stuff today and look at our old stuff and like, so it's just, I think it's where you caught it in your life. If you caught it at a younger age, that's going to be you forever. Might be
yeah, someday there are fans that watch now that may say this is the best era they've ever seen.
Yeah, and to them it is because they didn't grow up on the other.
Right.
To them, okay, let me see this old stuff.
All right. Before we go to the commercial break, any final memories of Warlord, Barbarian, in the ring, out of the ring? I know you took some big bumps for some big guys.
Yeah, those. I mean, I want to put them. Me personally, I want to put them as some of the best matches we had.
Really?
I felt like me and Sean had good matches with everybody we worked with. I can't think of a team that was like, oh, we, kind of, go in with.
The Bolsheviks?
Yeah, well, they might have been. Damn you! Why'd you say them? I forgot about that.
Well, that's kind of
only because Nikolai couldn't bump so much.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. But I understand Mrs. Volkov could bump. Mrs. V, yeah.
I don't know when you want to ask. Boris was great.
The Bolshevikettes, they could take some bumps.
Who were those Rosales? Who were
the Rosati sisters?
The Rosatis. Were they with? No, that wasn't them.
I don't know. No. But I thought you got to know the Bolshevikettes.
Unless I saw a picture of them. What was the deal? They were cheerleaders or what?
I don't know if they were cheerleaders,
Sidekicks.
but they
perks.
I don't know how to describe them. You knew them much better than I did, but I never saw the Rockers and the Bolsheviks. I don't think those were probably your better matches. But if you look at '89, my gosh, you had Brainbusters for most of the years. Then you went on to the Rougeaus for the second part of the year, and then you kind of ended it with the house show loop with the Bolsheviks, and then you went on to the Powers of Pain. Certainly, very different teams.
Did all those in 1 year? Because we did a little story, or somewhat a storyline.
Bolsheviks, you really didn't have a storyline with. You just did a house show loop with them, yeah. Powers of Pain, there was a story, but that went into '90. But just very different teams, the Non-Intelli and the Rougeaus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, in Bolsheviks, I mean, they were easy enough. It was just, they weren't going to have the crowd stand on feet. And Boris, Jim, we'd worked with him a lot in AWA days. So.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. So you had a rhythm with them already.
Right. And he'd bump his ass off. He would bump. And I love Nikolai to death. God rest his soul. And him, it was embedded in his mind that big guys, he was a big old boy, and the big guys don't bump for little bitty guys. So even as he got older, that was embedded in there. He wasn't going anywhere towards the floor. We used to say his bumps looked like a kickstand off of a bike that went in sections, because he'd go down to a knee, to a hip, and then it'll roll down. And then you have to.
They weren't pretty.
Yeah, they wasn't often either. And then you almost didn't want them to go down, because you got to look around at the crowd like, yeah, there's 15,000 people. If somebody's going to see me, you got to help them up a little bit, because he was getting the ropes. And who was like that, of course, and his off topic was Andre. When he go down, you was like, oh no, come on, because you're going to have to help him get up. He used the ropes as much as he could. But that was a big go. His thing on biography, we was talking about that last week, I think. His thing was, his and Macho Man, and Bret.
The Andre one was kind of old. That was from a couple of years ago. That's not fresh.
But that's the one they just been showing recent?
They have showed it recently, but it came out the weekend of WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, because I remember I kind of had to rush home from the airport. It was on HBO originally, and now I guess it's WWE took ownership of it.
Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah.
But
excellent piece of business.
Man, all
yeah.
of them are. I didn't see. Only one I wasn't crazy about was Warriors, because they kind of, it seemed like they focused more on the business aspect of, who was cheating who, but money-wise, and
Yeah.
I mean, they did go into Jim's personal life, but not that much, and I think I know why there too.
Did you see the Dark Side of the Ring episode about him?
I don't know if I've seen. When you say Dark Side of the Ring, what was the one with Brett? Was that Dancer with Shadows or something? That's the only dark.
Wrestling with Shadows.
Wrestling with Shadows. I keep thinking of that when I hear.
Well, that came out in like '98,
Well,
so
yeah. I don't know if I've seen a single episode, but everybody seems to love
I'll have
it.
to send you some links once you get the internet back up and running again.
Yeah, everybody.
We got to get you caught up first on our shows, and then you get caught up on all those biographies and whatnot. Wrestling, but let me ask you this.
Yep.
Do you think Mrs. Volkov enjoyed your matches with the Bolsheviks more than Nikolai?
I don't know. He enjoyed them.
Yeah, all right, wrestling fans, we're going to take a brief time out.
Sucker me in, don't he?
Check out some of the great folks that make things happen. WWE is going back live on the road. It's a crazy time in the world of wrestling. Thank you for being a part of what we do. We'll be right back. Thank you to our friends at Red Rose and our friends at Noel Salon. I can't believe it. They're moving. They're moving even closer from their old location in Malden. They're going to be here in Melrose. It'll be great for me to go and see my good friends.
I can get my haircut.
If we set things up ahead of time, I'm sure they could take good care of you. It'll be easy. And let me tell you this, folks. If they can make me look semi-decent with this dilapidated body, imagine what they could do for you. Visit noelsalon.com and their new location, not too far from this studio, in Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts, where Saturday night, November the 13th, not only do we go back to the 80s for WrestleFest with some great legends of the 1980s, but it doubles as our 20th anniversary show because of all the delays with COVID. You talk about a night with so much energy, Marty. We have these great 80s legends that are going to be there. We have the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow competing in ring. We also kick off our Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive in mid-November. So, I mean, it is just going to be a night of combustible elements. It's going to be interesting to see, maybe if you're there.
What's the date?
Saturday night, November the 13th. We'll have to wait and see on that. Check the calendar. But we're going to have a lot of fun. On July 4th, we want to let you know, myself and John Cena Sr., we're going to have some very interesting announcements for you guys in regards to the Back to the 80s WrestleFest event. Unfortunately, we've lost Road Warrior Animal. He has passed away. He won't be able to join us.
Was he going?
He was, yeah, and he was going to come to the studio. He wanted to try and test the waters like what you do with the show. Lanny Poffo has left the country. He's wanted to service himself on the beaches of Ecuador and will not be in the United States for the event. Tony Atlas decided to steal.
What kind of service?
First class.
Okay.
First class. Solo, though. He likes the privacy. Tony Atlas decided to steal the money he was given for the event. We highly doubt that sack of shit will be with us, but you know what? Things could change. We don't know.
Not now.
And Brutus the Barber Beefcake is not going to be with us either because of his wife's birthday. So,
Melissa?
Yes. So a little disappointed in that, where we had him booked for the original event and an airline ticket, but
he didn't know
birthdays come up.
He didn't know that was her birthday when you booked.
Well, but that's not his fault, because you got to remember the original date for this event was April of 2020.
Okay.
We would have liked to have had a little bit of strutting and cutting, but you know what? That just gives us the opportunity to make the event bigger, better, and badder is the way I look at it. And that's what we're going to do for you guys, because we love you. Again, July 4th, we're going to have some information with myself and John Cena Sr. as we celebrate the birthday of the greatest country on God's green earth, the United States of America.
And it's getting better.
Yankee Doodle Dandy, baby. All right, Cowboy Bob Orton was talked about coming back. He was advertised on some events in early 1990. Obviously, there must have been plans for him to return, but he never did. Any idea why?
Back then, I'm still listening.
No, not with this. No, we're talking about 1990 again now. Any idea why the Cowboy was slated for a 1990 WWF return after 3 years off? After that issue with Morocco and Piper, where the car on the train tracks kind of blew up, and
Well, I heard,
that was before you had time, though. You weren't there for that one.
Yeah,
the car kind of the rent a car broke down, and the train hit it, and it blew up, and they just kind of walked back to the hotel. And what I thought was even better from that story was when the police finally showed up at the hotel, they got Piper in Morocco, and Orton could hear the noise, and he was nude. So he was kind of reaching out, looking out over the balcony, kind of ribbing them, and he was holding the door open with his foot, but he went too far, and the door shut.
Oh, well,
and he was stuck out in the hallway naked. But anyway, you don't remember any of the chatter as to maybe why Orton was going to come back and he didn't?
No. And I don't want to, even guess because it might be way off. Because I was generally, it's negotiating the money thing. It comes out in that. But back then, there was only a select few who got to negotiate. You got what they told you. Wherever you were on the card and however good the house, the numbers were. You get paid by the house.
Yeah, but he didn't come back at all.
Yeah, but he might have been one of those ones that you negotiate a flat fee. And I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't know that. Everybody's different. I heard so many people saying that, Anvil, the whole thing with them dropping, the title to us, was the contract didn't like the numbers or whatever. Which,
well, you know what? Actually, that's going to come up later in the 1990 because I know I did a tremendous amount of research on it. And I want to see what you think about it once we get to that point. But
when was it? 91?
No, that was later in 1990.
Same
so
year,
we'll get there in this year. But you know what? I think Bob Orton was very underrated in his prime. I think if you go back and watch Bob Orton now,
I liked
he
him
was
pretty
very,
good.
very smooth.
Yes, he was.
Very, very smooth.
We worked with him as the Rockers worked with him.
AWA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of times, and man, it was, he's a big boy,
He is, and I got to tell you this. Wrestling in-ring aside, just a treasure to deal with when we've worked with them before.
Yeah.
I mean, if everybody could be that easy. We've had a lot of fun with Bob. My gosh, not only here in Boston, but New Orleans, Dallas, Texas. We've traveled with Bob quite a bit. I remember I sat with his dad
one year. For WrestleManias?
One of those WrestleCon conventions,
okay.
yeah. I sat with his dad one year at the Cauliflower Rally Club because he was friendly with Ox Baker.
That's right.
And you would think their voices were twins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do. I thought Bob was just showing up to join us. But the dad sounded just like that. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah.
That's funny. That's
and I remember
they born with that.
I'd love to see if I could insert the picture over it, but when we were the poor bastard, when we were in New Orleans, his back went out. And I mean, his back went out bad. But again, we've talked about it before. Unlike sacks of shit in Maine, we deal with a lot of professionals in our industry that keep their word. Bob showed up at the convention and he was in horrible shape. And guess who came to his rescue?
Who?
In a picture that almost looked like sodomy,
oh my God.
Bob was face down on the floor flat as Al Snow went to work on his lower back.
You let me find that picture.
Well, let me tell you.
I got a new rib for Al.
Al worked magic on him, and Bob was
in
Bob was in much better condition after I think Al. I don't know if Al's wife is a chiropractor but she does something like that because I know she had to go through his new wife.
He learned, he was pretty good in martial arts, and
Al.
he got involved. They got things where they make the body loosen and different pressure points and all that. He would second what's his name from Michigan, Dan Severn.
Dan Severn, yep.
For a while at the Ultimate Fights, and Al told me one time, he said, well, I started thinking it was a work, when I had led Dan, told him each different style, because he knows Al's real good with it. He knows how the guy's going to come at you. Of according to what discipline he's learned. And he said, Dan listened to him all the way up to the finals. And he tried to tell him this guy's going to come out fast and do something or something. And he said, Dan said, stop it. So let me do what I got to do. And then Dan went out and got beat. And he goes, yeah, there was something up to that. But we don't know. That was just Al. But
an observation.
Yeah.
But I was very impressed that Al had that kind of technique in his brain where he could help Bob like that. Just another story from memory lane for the book, I guess. I'm actually in Al's.
Why did that look like sodomy?
You'd have to see the picture.
Oh, he's scoot way back.
Well, no, Bob is, I mean, he's flat on his chest, face first on the floor, and Al is on top of him doing the
I can see
the
that.
back
You
work.
have to have your mind somewhere to think that, though.
This is, I'm trying to think of what hotel it was at, but I do remember it was in New Orleans. That was number 2, Jackie? Oh, my dear Lord.
Is it all right?
We're flying again. All right, wrestling fans, as the joke man makes his way back to the control room, we're going to take a brief time out, and let me tell you, it is no joke. We've got some great merchandise in that eBay store, folks, and the Patreon. We need you. We need you not just to be friends, not just to be fans, but to join the Boston Wrestling family. We'll be back after this brief timeout. All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders as we slowly kick off the year 1990. Marty and I usually do that as we like to go in-depth on some of these stories.
Yeah, evidently.
January the 21st, not too far from your own home, it was Royal Rumble 1990.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, I wish I got them somewhere. I'll send you the pictures.
Of what?
Because, you know, you'll insert like,
Yeah.
for the show.
Oh, you have some pictures?
Yeah, well,
Oh, cool.
That's when Al Snow, no, that had been 96, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Al Snow, so this one, because there was a Rumble there, I think it was 96.
96 was in California.
Rumble?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in this one, you
I
came
know
in...
it was in Orlando once, maybe twice, or just once. A Rumble.
That you would have been around for?
Yeah.
Just one time. They came, I think they were there in 2016 for the Rumble when AJ Styles debuted and Triple H won the title in the match itself. But as far as your tenure, 90 would have been the only year it
Okay,
was
so
in Orlando. It was in Miami one year too when you were
That's
around.
probably where I'm getting confused, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know when it was considered like, you know, your home field
Right,
advantage.
right. Well, you entered number 3. You were eliminated in short order by the $1 Million Man,
Number 3
Ted
and a
DiBiase. Any memories of the match itself? It was the night that they kind of kicked off the tease for the Warrior and Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Any memories of the Rumble in Orlando?
The fun part of it, the best part of it, was I only had to wait till the last minute. Because my house was probably 10 minutes from the old arena, and you know, it's like I said, it's like a home, like for sports, it's home team. You know,
nice to be in your own bed while you're on the road.
Yeah, you know, and all your friends are going to come, and I didn't really have family there, but all my friends coming, and I can't remember who we wrestled. This is 90,
No, you were
right?
just in the Rumble. Yeah, you didn't tag that
Oh,
night.
that's right. The Rumble 91, I guess.
That was when you had the classic.
Orient.
We'll talk about that one in the future. That's worth talking about.
Yeah,
But
that's one of my favorites. Yeah.
any memories of that night though? Having Ted toss you early on in the match?
I think I was so excited about being tossed out so fast with all my friends. You know, home field advantage, huh? You can get out of here. Here, take this briefcase with you. Yeah, not really, because in the Rumble, for me, the biggest thing about a battle royal is be careful, because that's where I think where the most injuries over all these years I've seen come from are battle royals. Is, you know, you're leaning, whether you're leaning on top of the guy against the rope or you're the guy leaning back on the top of the rope, the guy next to you falls in sideways just a little bit. I mean, you don't know where anybody's coming from. That's why you don't see a whole lot of bumps until the end, you know, because if you go down, you better hurry up and get up because somebody's stepping on you, and sometimes on purpose. But so many injuries can happen in battle royals. Really don't like them. Even though I'll say the ones, you know, with WWE, I don't know why, maybe because the guys are a little bit better than other places. Because when we was in AWA, somebody got hurt every night at a battle royal, and if you're one of the big bunny guys and you get hurt in a match like that, you know, I don't even know, do fans love those anymore? Do they love
The Rumble? Oh, yeah, that's
but battle royals in
a
general.
regular battle royal. I think as a rare attraction, they can be fun to watch. As Gorilla Monsoon used to say on commentary, and he made me believe it as a kid, the most dangerous match in professional wrestling.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is. And then we had this guy who's just shooting back down real quick. I'll do it fast. I think it was 1986. Silo Sam was his name. He was about 7'1".
What was his name?
Silo Sam.
Is this AWA?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going back to 86 real quick. Just because of the Battle Royal thing, and it was funny. He was a big old boy, and he thought he was all that. And Battle Royal time, Kurt came over to me, and he goes, "Get him, just tie him up in the corner. Just hold him right there in the corner. Just for a minute." And he was like a country, you know, where the heck do you get overalls to fit a 7'1" guy? I mean, he was tall. And I liked him, you know, but some of the guys he rubbed wrong. Because, I mean, he was really sort of a doofus. I hate saying that, sorry.
Well,
I don't even know if he's still alive, but he's not. Sorry for saying that.
he's
But
a deceased doofus if he's not with us.
What's that?
He's a deceased doofus if he's not with us. Yeah.
And he was, I mean, it was funny to me, but he talked about the women he had, a girl in every port. You know, and you look at everything, now that's where they get the bad reputation of being called ring rats. You got with that, you know, but and then he thought he was kind of, I guess, you know, being that big and seeing everybody else look like ants might play on your psyche. I'm a bad boy. I actually played with him, you know, wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Not like
Okay,
that.
all right. Thought we were talking a little Can-Am connection for
go.
a second. All right.
I know you was going back to Andy. But I remember taking him down in the dressing room once. Play, you know, not ugly, not being mean by it, but it was just like, and you know, most of the wrestlers are pretty badass and have a wrestling background. Silo had nothing. He was just a big boy. You know, and Vern wanted this novelty looking, you know.
I don't remember him.
I'm surprised because
he
he wasn't in, but he probably was in for 3 or 4 months, and it was for the Battle Royals mainly. It was like his idea of Andre.
I started watching wrestling in '86, so maybe he was just finishing up as I started to watch it in the middle of the.
You never saw him anywhere else. I
Yeah.
mean, nobody
No,
else.
I never even heard of him.
Silo Sam. But Kurt says, get him locked up against, just get him in the corner, just hold him there for a minute. And I'm like, okay, why? He goes, you'll see, you'll love it. I mean, what's he going to spray some shit on him, make him style? I had no idea. Kurt was always funny. But so got him locked in the thing, and he didn't mind. He's sitting there like taking it easy for a minute. And it is video. I'll see if I can send that to you. Maybe you can insert a B-roll right there or something. But it is funny because I've got him hugged right, and there's about 3 more feet of human above me standing there. But you know, I back off, and Kurt goes up and says, "Chop, let's all chop him." I'm like, okay, join in. Everybody's taking turns, and he was like, and then he just stays there. So everybody comes and chops him. Damn it! And Kurt had locked his like strap to the belt, to the to the rope. He took a lock. He wrapped him around there.
He had a lock?
He locked. He got locked to the top rope.
So how did you eliminate him?
He didn't.
Oh, he had to win?
He might have been going over. I can't remember if he was going over anyway. But
he loved his locks.
No, but they had to go out there with lock cutters to get him off. Yeah, it was a lot
That's
of fun.
funny. That's funny. But going back,
that's battle royals are dangerous.
going back to the Rumble in '90, though, what I find interesting, 17 individuals as of now are WWE Hall of Famers out of 30. That was a hell of a Rumble.
Damn.
17 out of 30 and counting.
Wow.
Well, you're awfully impressed by that.
Well, I just, like I said, I've seen too many of the guys. Couple. Kurt got hurt in one.
Did he?
That's not karma. You're gonna say that's karma. No, and it was the very thing I was talking about. You get hit in the side. I mean, your knees are very vulnerable in those things. And there's nothing you can do. Like if you're pinned up against a rope right here, and somebody falls, gets shoved by, there's people shooting at you from everywhere. And, one trips over another one's heels and falls right into there, tear it right out. And
Did Jackie give us the signal to take it home? I don't even remember now at this point.
What?
Jackie, did you give us the signal yet, brother?
No.
No, he didn't. Okay. No, all right. Well, thank you for that. All right, well, thank you even more for that.
Are you seeing ghosts?
Well, he's a joke man. I don't know. Sometimes we lose track where we get so in-depth. But let me ask you this one. Royal Rumble 90, early on in the show, it was the Rougeaus and the Bushwhackers. It was the end of Jacques and Ramon in the WWF at that point. Yeah, do you remember why the Rougeaus left in 90?
I know Jacques always wanted to, he was just, I love Jacques to death. Jacques Rougeau. I think he was just, he would go through spells of getting burnt out, wanted to take a break. It could, because he had done that several times before in the short time that I knew him.
Well, they were there for 4 years at that point when they left.
Yeah, and I'd met him first, one of the first matches ever was in '84, somewhere, and he was just coming back from taking a hiatus. Is that what it's called, hiatus? Mm-hmm. And man, what I use words I can't spell. But anyway, he was just coming back because he was getting burnt out, and he'd have to take a month or 2 or 3, and then come back, refreshed. Remember, he came back. He was the Mounties, right?
That was a year or so later.
That was later on.
Yeah.
Was he gone for that?
He was gone for about a year. Yeah.
He used to tell us there's other things besides wrestling in life, guys. This is not all there is. And he was trying to start a business. Might have been to get his business going. I don't know.
Well, you think maybe he was right?
Yeah. And Raymond went on to do the French. The French.
He just got canned not too long ago. So, he had a hell of a run doing the French commentary.
He'd been there that long? Wow.
Yeah. Not to be confused with our friend in the front room, the French douchebag. But
I still don't know.
You know who I mean, the older guy.
Up there now?
No, he was already gone. He left in the French mobile.
I was just saying hi to all the guys up front.
No, that's not the French douchebag. Don't worry about that. But were people sad to see them go? Were they generally liked? Were they? Yeah.
I don't think they ever played the baby. Were they at one time babyface when they first came out?
Yeah, when they first debuted, from '86 to early '88, they were faces.
Oh, they had a 2-year.
Yeah.
Because I think as soon as we got there, they were going.
They got a better push as heels, though. That's for sure.
Yeah,
when they put them with Jimmy Hart.
They're giving it so easy to hate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, Raymond just had a habit of wanting to. He had to take breaks. Not a week off. It'd be 3 months, 4 months, maybe a year. He said it was a year for.
Yeah. Well, at least I don't know what he might have done outside of WWF. Maybe he did things up in Canada or.
And I think he was running his own thing. This is, as of recent, a few years ago. But I remember him coming back maybe as the Mountie, happy about his break, taking the break off, and talking about, told you guys, so he was doing something with a business. I don't have no idea, a restaurant or what it might have been, but some kind of business, that he felt like there's something else besides wrestling in our lives.
Well, you know what? Good for him if it, was able to provide an income. It failed?
For sure. So, but he never heard him talk about it again, so he figured it faded away or something.
Well, did you care that the Rougeaus were gone? Were you friendly enough with them that you'd miss them?
I love them to death.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, well, you don't have time to really miss anybody because one leaves, here comes another one.
Yeah, here comes another one.
You got to focus on what's in front of you.
Do you think it hurt the division to see them go?
Well, I guess back then, unlike now they're starting to come back to it, but your tag team looks like a tag team. In other words, they look like a team, dressed like. Back then we kind of did. Bulldogs looked like two guys. The Rougeaus looked like 2 guys. We did. Then they went through a phase where you just had 2 people thrown together.
And they don't get over.
Yeah, they call them a tag team, and then the champions, and don't they have a few now that are starting to look at it again? Or no?
No, not
the
especially.
Young Bucks, but they were like the new era rockers. with AEW.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
They do.
Well,
No,
they
I
can.
love them to death. I mean, because they showed the most respect when I'd seen them, and I'm sure Sean. I've never been around them with Sean at the same time. I'm sure he loves them to death too, because they got the Christian thing, you know.
I'd like to see them just maybe slow down a little bit and sell a little more and do a
Ben,
little
I
less.
tried, Ben.
And I think I would enjoy what they do more because they're outstanding athletes. What they do is incredible, but it's just too much every match.
And I've told them that since 2011, 2012, when I first met them. I said, you were doing so much good stuff in one match. So you could space out, you know, you have 5 different matches out of that one match.
Right.
You know, and you could make the moves you do. They're so impressive, so much more impressive by letting the fans have it, meaning let them soak in what you just did. I mean, if you do a backflip into a double super kick and then flip forward and do another one, I mean, what the hell was all that? I mean, just give them one pretty thing and let the fans have time to go, wow, did you see that?
Let it sink in.
The super kick, you know. Did I just slap myself
Yeah.
in the Is that habit?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I
and you
guess
know, that almost sounds, I guess, what I said almost like an insult, but it's more of a compliment that they can do so much.
Oh, they're great.
But they don't need to do everything they know in every single match. And not,
and I'm sure they'll come up with more, but that's beyond the point. The point is you're stealing from yourself and you're stealing from the fans. What I mean by stealing is you're not giving up. The eyes have to keep up with the action. Brain's got to keep up with the eyes. You know, if you're doing one beautiful super suplex off the top rope and you stepped up on your partner's head to do it, that should be enough for everybody to go, oh my God, he stepped up on his partner's head and gave him a superplex. But you give him the superplex and pick him up and double super kick him all in one. I mean, you're stealing from your own self. You just said something great, but the fans didn't really get time to soak it in, and you're doing something else. The only thing they're going to remember is the last move, whatever that might be. All those ones that you did in between, you did like 4 finishes in a damn spot.
and it's incredible that they can do what they do. They're amazing athletes.
Yeah, oh, great.
Like I said, I think
Japan ruined them.
I would personally enjoy it more if there was less in each match, I think.
Oh,
and I think it would make every match they have that much more variety to it. But let me ask you this.
And extend their career because everything wasn't seen in one night.
Right. Well, I know Jackie the Joke Man gave us the signal. Before we go, I want to ask you one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Well, since we got off topic, how would you compare the Rockers to the Young Bucks at this point? They've been around the national landscape now for over a decade. How would you compare the Rockers to the Jacksons?
Probably equal for the time frame. They are us for this time frame because they're not the only ones that do that. Mm-hmm. You know, I still love and enjoy watching even the matches that do too much, but you know, this is not necessary, and it's like I said, it cheats yourself and the fans. But you know, they're the Rockers of today, I guess, kind of thing.
And they're beloved. I mean, they have a fan base that will not quit.
Yeah, I heard
So
that too.
they've had great success at AEW.
Good guys.
I've only met one of them, but as nice as can be.
Yes.
Jay Lethal, when
That's
they
a
were
good
all
guy,
in
too.
TNA together, was trying to set them up with us. It didn't happen. I don't know whether it was just because of the dates or whatever it was. But Nick was an awfully nice guy. I've never met Matt. But wrestling fans, unfortunately, it's that time again.
It was that time about
It's that time again. We got to go. We hate to go. We'd love to sit there and talk with you all night. But if you want to make sure we have more great talk shows like this, there's many ways you can help. Give us the big Hacksaw Jim Duggan-like thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's absolutely free with over 2,000 free videos. You can share the links to our great interviews all over the internet, all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Well, you know, you can't share it on YouTube, but Reddit, Facebook wrestling groups, wrestling websites. Anywhere there are wrestling fans, let them know what we're doing so they can check it out. In addition to that, be a good soul. Don't forget to tip the bartender. The world-famous Super Chat button is open during the premiere. Send us a little tip so we can afford to bring more great superstars into this studio for you. as we've noted, you can find the link in the description box below for our eBay store. We have great wrestling merchandise of superstars from every era. Every purchase helps keep Wrestling Legends working, and it gives you that on-air shout-out that you see from time to time from the legends themselves as our thank you for helping the team. And the main event, most important, as Marty is hulking up over there, the Patreon. Because if you're on a part of the Patreon, you're not just a fan, you're not just a friend, you are part of La Familia, the Boston Wrestling family, at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Early ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider weekly shows, including New Jack, the final interviews. You have access to our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library that's been seen by millions online, millions more on the Howard Stern Show. We have Patreon exclusive videos, and just as important, you help keep the Wrestling Legends working. Again, patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Link can be found in the description box below. For my partner in crime, Marty Jannetty.
And I'm going to give them a little spoiler for next week's
What
show.
is that?
I'm going to give y'all this, but I should let you be surprised. Dan will be wearing the same thing right there.
You never know. You never know. For
Well,
Marty Jannetty,
change now.
I'm Dan Marotti. Until we speak again, folks, you and yours be well, stay healthy. Good night.
The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Wheeling Civic Center in Wheeling, West Virginia, Wednesday, July the 1st, 1998. In the opening contest, WWF Light Heavyweight Champion Taka Michinoku retained the title over Brian Christopher. Draws beat Savio Vega. X-Pac with the win over Dustin Runnels. In a street fight, DOA defeated LOD 2000. Jeff Jarrett victorious over Steve Blackman. In a submission match, Ken Shamrock beat Owen Hart. Bradshaw with the win over Mark Henry via disqualification. WWF Tag Team Champion Road Dogg defeated The Godfather. Scorpio victorious over Mark Mero. And in the main event, The Undertaker, Farouk, and Vader beat Kane, WWF Intercontinental Champion The Rock, and D'Lo Brown in an unsanctioned match. If you are in Wheeling Live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep Wrestling Legends working during the worst of times